Alright, welcome to Ripper Studios sketch lesson number 3. I'm going to have a little short discussion on drawing the eyeball. Now, the eyeball, if you break it down into its simplest shapes, it's a fairly easy thing to draw. Where people start to trip themselves up about it is trying it to look too much, I would say too realistic. Now that comes with time and practice, getting to be able to do that. I have often taken photographs of my own eye and used those as references. So there's always that. But if you want to get good at drawing the eyeball simply, some of the shapes that you need to remember and kind of get used to drawing are going to be the general shape of the eye. So a lot of people like to describe it as an almond shape. The bottom is a little, I would say, less curved than the top. Depending on, and those change depending on the facial expressions. If you have angry eyes, the eyelid is going to be shaped downward, and then if they're sad, it's going to be, down. The angry is downward, like slanted towards the nose. Sad is downward, facing away from the nose, of course. But yeah, you take this simple almond shape, and this part here, there's always like this piece of skin that kind of wrinkles over. The bottom lid goes over the bottom. The next part is the tear duct. There. If you look at your own, if you look at your own eyeball, you'll get to kind of see the shape of that. And then the iris. If I'm just kind of doing a general eyeball, just to make it a little bit more natural, I tend to cut the top off there. Because if you draw it like that without it being cut off, it just looks like you always have like a wide-eyed expression. And if you want the wide-eyed expression, go for that. Pupil, generally in the direct center. Also, if you want to give some life to your eyes, or the character that you're drawing, you add some reflections in there. Reflections give your characters life in the eyeballs. It kind of has a little glimmer of their soul, essentially. And you can get really creative with the I would say the hashing or the shading within the iris. If you really look at someone's eye, you can do these little starbursts, things like that. But ultimately, it's just simple lines here. And I'm never afraid of moving my paper around. I move my paper when I'm drawing every direction multiple times just to make it easier on myself. It's always easier for me to draw a straight line like this, not have to go here, 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 and push up with my pen. So I rotate the bottom wrinkles, just kind of scatter them in there. And over time, you just kind of get used to this. Also, the other thing that should be pointed out is the bottom eyelid has a shelf to kind of give it that 3D effect. That little shelf there, it's a ledge, kind of, is what I've always thought of it as. Kind of, shows that the lid is actually an actual thing and not just some flat object. Also, shading from these corners and adding that shadow that top lid creates, and you kind of fade it out. That kind of, you know, helps create that form and that shape a little bit better. Yeah, so that's kind of a general idea of the eye. And with these, you know, practicing this over and over, and then you kind of play with the shapes of the eyelids for different facial expressions, things of that nature. The biggest thing is not overcomplicating it. If you want to get really good at drawing really realistic eyeballs, look at pictures of, you know, actual eyes, you know, of your own, or pictures that you find online or whatever, and do that. But if you just want to learn how to just get good at just drawing them from memory, which I have done, that's one big thing I like to try to get good at, is drawing things from memory and not having to be bogged down by references. References are really nice. I still use them. But ultimately, the idea is to get good at drawing all kinds of different things from memory. So yeah, there's a quick little lesson on drawing the eyeball. If you liked, you know, the video, please share it, and subscribe if you haven't already, to get more content. And I know you've always heard this from other YouTube pages, but if you want to be able to be on top of my videos and when they come out, you hit that little bell, and you'll get a little ding, a little notification of when my next one comes out. Thanks again, and have a rad day.